All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Run! Go! Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
Podcast.
and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome everyone to Get to the Movies.
Welcome.
My name is Dracula. Or Diego.
My name is Nick Champion. I don't even know. Hey, my name is Wolfman, and I'm Wolfman Jack. What's Wolfman Jack from? That's American Graffiti. Wolfman Jack.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen American Graffiti.
It's a good movie. Richard
do
Dreyfuss,
the,
Ron Howard.
Yeah. It was
Harrison
George
Ford.
Lucas?
George Lucas, yeah, before Star Wars. Harrison Ford's in it.
You could do the creature from the Black
Lagoon. He doesn't
Just
say
go.
anything. Bye, Phoebe. That's Frankenstein from Monster Squad. So great when she's like, "Don't go, Frankenstein! Don't go! Please don't go! Oh, no.
I thought we were not going to talk about this.
I love that movie. Okay,
That's all
fine.
we go into.
So we're gonna do our favorite Universal Monsters movies individually, like our favorite ones, because there's
Correct.
been lots of renditions and iterations of these characters. We're gonna do our favorites. Obviously, my pick would be Monster Squad, but because I've talked about it a bunch, I'm gonna save that to our next episode next week. We're gonna do a whole a different thing, and I'm gonna talk about Monster Squad in that one.
Just like every other episode.
Yeah, exactly. But in this one, if we're gonna go our favorite Universal Monsters movies, it's okay. So it's a toss-up for me. I don't know. I don't remember.
Want me to
exactly what
start
guys
to give you
do.
time to think?
Well, no, I
You're good?
Okay, but you're gonna have to help me figure out which one I'm gonna do.
Okay.
It's either The Invisible Man, the original one from.
1931.
Did that one come out in 31? Because Bela Lugosi's Dracula came out in 31.
No, I'm
I don't-
sorry, not 31. It was after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like a couple years later. I think it
Yeah.
was like 36 or 35 or something like that.
I might have said 31 because we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, and it's based off the H.G. Wells one. Yeah, it's 33 actually. It's 32.
33.
It's with Claude Rains.
Okay.
But it's based off the H.G. Wells novel. And The Invisible Man, I love that movie. I watched it when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and I think Claude Rains does a fucking bang-up job as the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
He's so good. A guy whose descent into madness as an Invisible Man. It's just still, it holds up. It's great. It's fantastic. Even the effects, I'm like, dude, that's pretty good that they were able to do that back then.
Yeah.
So I love that movie, but the other one I was going to go with, and I think I'm going to go with the other one, is Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one directed by Francis Ford Coppola with Gary Oldman as Dracula. I think I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, that is a
92.
fantastic
That is
movie.
a fantastical film.
Fantastic.
Although it does incite violence because it makes you sympathize with
Dracula.
With Dracula.
I don't know. I don't know if I sympathize with him. It's the hair in that one scene with the red cloak thing with the big ass hair. I'm like, nah, I can't. I can't get with this style, man.
His style is a little funky,
Yeah.
but yeah, they do make you sympathize with the kid. But then a lot of the Dracula ones,
They do make you
They-
sympathize with him.
I don't think-
the
Bela
one based on
Lugosi, I don't
his
think
sto-
they did. Or
The
that
one
early
based on
on.
his stories, they usually
Yeah.
do. Like the Dracula film that recently came out. It was literally about him
Which one?
being denied. The one that didn't do very well.
Dracula 2000. That's the one.
No.
I keep going back to
There's
remember.
one that just came out,
that.
which was Dracula.
Or Blade Trinity with Drake. They call him Drake instead of Dracula, but he was Dracula.
Yeah.
You fucking remember that shit?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
The guy from
I do
Breakout,
like- yeah.
from Prison Break was in it. The big
Yeah.
guy that-
he played Dracula.
yeah.
How did I miss
It was
that?
terrible.
I love that movie though.
I do not. I love the
You're
first
crazy,
two Blade movies. That
dude.
Blade
It
Trinity,
had
Ryan
Deadpool
Reynolds,
in it.
Jessica Alba.
Yeah, that was.
No,
really-
was it just-
Jessica Biel. Sorry,
Jessica Biel, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a great scene in that movie where the Drake character goes, "Are you ready for me, Blade?"
Yeah,
and then he goes,
motherfucker.
"I was born ready, motherfucker."
And do you remember what he says in response to that? He goes, "Motherfucker, I like that."
yes.
It's so bad.
No, I loved it. When I heard
I
that,
didn't
when
know.
I heard Wesley Snipes goes, "I was born ready, motherfucker." Like, I can't say it like Wesley Snipes,
Yeah,
but
I was born
I was just like, "This is the greatest movie ever made." Like, this
No,
is
it's
just so hokey. Like, I love it.
Motherfucker, I like that. It's so bad. I really was not down with that movie at all because I
Dracula
love the
Untold,
first two.
that's what it was.
Oh, Dracula Untold. Yeah, was it good?
Yeah, it wasn't a great
was
film,
good.
but the story was really good.
Yeah.
because it's literally that he gets cursed,
Yeah.
and all he was trying to do is save his wife.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like Bram Stoker's a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it in a while, but I know that that's part of it. And like Winona Ryder reminds him of his
Yeah.
wife, so that's why
Yeah.
he's trying to get her. And he like sided with the devil, but like God is there. There's like a whole representation of like light and dark.
exactly.
The thing I love about that movie, so obviously Bela Lugosi is the classic Dracula, right, from back in the day. I think it was like the first Universal Monsters movie in 31 or whatever. And it's great. That movie, you know, it's classic, you know, but you watch it today, you're
He's just
like,
trying to get himself a wife.
yeah, there's not a lot.
Right?
There's not
Isn't
a lot
that
of
the whole
depth.
thing?
There's
He's
not
like-
a lot of depth to the character.
He just didn't use his good people skills.
Yeah.
He's like,
He-
I'm gonna have to, put you a
Yeah.
spell on you,
Yeah.
and then, now you're my wife.
And really it's the classic image of Dracula, and that's fine, and it works, and
Yeah.
it's great. But in this one, first off, it's Gary Oldman, who has never delivered a shitty performance ever in his life. The guy's incredible, whether he's playing fucking Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols in Sid and Nancy, or he's playing Gordon in the Dark Knight trilogy,
Yeah.
or he's playing
Yeah.
fucking Fifth Element, or the Professional, Leon the Professional, like the guy,
Oh, I love them
or
Fifth
he's
Element.
playing Winston Churchill in The Darkest Hour. I mean,
Yeah,
the guy's
he's
just
really
like,
good, yeah.
he's fantastic.
He's a performer.
And
He's a very good character
and
actor,
Yes, and he's doing the same exact thing in Dracula.
Yeah.
He took this image where they'd basically been doing Dracula the same for, at that point, 70 years. You know, you had Bela Lugosi, you had Christopher Lee playing Dracula in a bunch of those movies.
Yeah.
You even had a Blackula in blaxploitation film, which was effectively, he was playing that character very similar to those other ones.
Eddie Murphy played Dracula.
Yeah, he did.
Vampire
That
in
was
Oh,
Brooklyn.
Vampire in Brooklyn. He
Yeah.
wasn't Dracula.
Well,
though.
you know.
Yeah. And that was after.
Blackula
That was
or whatever.
that was after.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, that
I
was
guess
90.
yeah.
That was 95.
Can
I
you
think.
stop doing what Neil does and kick the?
I kicked it by accident.
Like,
I'm only human.
This fidgety motherfucker.
I'm not
over here.
perfect, despite what you guys honestly believe. No, so he then he flipped,
Oh,
he flipped
Van
the-
Helsing. I actually really like that movie, the
Yeah.
Stephen Summers movie.
Did Stephen Summers
there's
did
a
that?
Dracula.
He did
Stephen
The
Summers
Mummy?
did that was directly after The Mummy.
Really?
Yeah, either The Mummy or Mummy Returns, one or the
I
other.
did not. Mummy Returns.
Yeah.
I did not realize that he did
The
Mummy.
guy, like
and
people
that.
hated the
They're both-
Dracula
they're both
in
Universal
that, and I thought he was
monsters.
great. He's just like overly, like flamboyant, like loud, and
I actually didn't
overly
like him.
dramatic.
I like the actor, but I thought he was not good as Dracula because I didn't connect with it.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example. Like,
It's
that
just
was
a
a guy
fun
trying to do a
movie.
kind of a similar Dracula that's been done a million times. But when Gary Oldman came out, I think it was 92 that he did Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. It was completely, the image was different. Everything about it was different.
It's very grounded and like, but
It
in
is,
like a
and he's
weird
got
mixture
several
of
different-
fantasy. Like there's a light touch of fantasy.
He's got
in it.
several different looks in the film. He's got that old look with the big fucking
Very-
beehive hairdo, and he's
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
the red cape, and he's got the when he's
Very
walking
art
through
piece.
the streets or whatever. He's got the long hair and the sunglasses and the top hat thing, and he's younger, and he's just got all these different things he's doing in that film,
Yeah.
and he's just completely in that character. And I remember getting to the end of that movie and feeling almost exhausted, like. In a way,
Yeah.
like that movie just takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
It is like it feels like
There's a lot of. It's like a thriller in many
Yeah.
ways. Yeah, where you're like on the edge of your seat, like
So-
as it reaches the end, the climax of the movie, you're like, oh, they're
Right.
remember they're riding on the horses to try to get there, and they're fighting like the mongrels or whoever the fuck they
Yeah.
are, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
This is so crazy.
And on the carriage thing, yeah. And so Francis Ford Coppola did this movie. So this guy, fucking Godfather films, Apocalypse Now, and it feels like Apocalypse Now. Like it feels like Jesus.
it's a
Christ,
big
I mean,
epic movie.
It is,
Yeah.
and he really went all out. And you get this idea that he was like in the trenches, like really fucking making this movie. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't just phoning it in. This is a movie that was made.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, I just remember Gary Oldman just completely flipping what Dracula was in my head. You know what I mean? Because it's not that Dracula, Bela Lugosi's character wasn't really like, because it's a book originally.
Right.
Right? And so it's a book, and it's that image of Dracula was created for that movie. That's not necessarily what Dracula was in the book. That wasn't necessarily what he looked like or whatever else. And this was like more of an interpretation of the book,
Right.
I think.
Well, everybody goes back to the Vlad the Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler is what it was
Yeah.
inspired. Yeah, a real guy.
was a real guy, yeah.
Yeah.
But he had, I think, like a tragic story to a degree. But yeah, he was psycho. Like
Yeah.
apparently he like would behead people and put their heads on stakes like outside of his castle and all this crazy shit. to
Yeah.
incite
Which is
fear,
where they
like-
came the Impaler thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Nosferatu is Dracula.
Yeah.
Nosferatu.
Oh God, that movie with Willem Dafoe.
I haven't watched that.
God, is it called? Is it Nosferatu or no?
End is for.
Say,
God, what is it? Yeah, I know
Willem
he's not-
Dafoe black and white movie where like he won like either got nominated for an Oscar or won.
Yeah, what's that called?
performance.
Jesus Christ, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're
In the
talking
shadows or something? Or
It-
not in
no,
the
no,
shadows.
no. What we do in the shadows? No, it was.
No, that's great too. That's a great. Vampire.
Was it Bambi?
That is a vampire one. Yeah, that's,
No, you know the movie
we
I'm
should've-
talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just don't like when you call it out. The first thing that came to mind was Salem's Lot because that's also a different depiction of Dracula.
I haven't seen that in forever. I
Wait,
don't-
what am I thinking of? Salem's. I thought Salem's Lot was the Stephen King with the cat. Oh,
that's Pet Cemetery.
That's
I
Pet-
always mix those
no,
up too.
you are
You're doing Pet
you are
Sematary.
thinking.
Is there
I know
a
what you're
cat in
talking
Salem's
about.
Lot
No,
too?
Salem's Lot is vampires or witches?
so you're thinking of something. There is a film. I think it's called something. From
Salem
Notes to Films.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that
Rob Lowe
has,
is in
has
it.
the cat that goes and takes the breath out of the girl's mouth.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Stephen
about.
King, right?
Stephen King. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But no, this Salem's Lot is something different. It's basically about this bald vampire.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen this then.
It's really, really, really creepy.
Oh, wow.
Shadow of the Vampire.
Shadow of the Vampire.
Shadow of the
Yeah.
Vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. Yeah, Shoba. Because that movie is weird too, because that's loosely based on this real
But
movie.
it's about creating the movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a movie about creating a real movie
Yeah.
that actually was made, and it was based. In this movie, essentially implies that the character, this actor or whatever who plays like
Gets a
Nosferatu
real vampire to
is
play-
a real
yeah,
vampire that they found, and
Yeah.
he was actually like when they weren't shooting the movie, he was like eating the cast members or some shit
Right.
and like sucking their blood, and you're like. What the fuck? Because you can actually go back and watch
It's
like
John
a
Malkovich.
1920 or 1930s movie,
Yeah.
the original,
It's like a German film. Or
and then
whatever,
watch and then watch like this new one. You're like, is this guy like? Is that really? Is this makeup or is this just some creepy looking dude they found in
did
this
a
town
good
in the
job.
middle of nowhere?
Yeah, so like I would because that predates Bela Lugosi's Dracula, so they didn't
Yeah,
have the
yeah.
rights to Dracula, so they basically got away by doing this movie Nosferatu, the vampire, and he was Dracula, but they were basically not saying he was Dracula because they didn't have the rights.
Yeah.
To the book, and he was
I'm sorry. So Stephen King did do a Salem Slot film, but the
Was
movie
it-
was called Sleepwalker.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we're talking about.
All right.
That's the
So-
one with the cats.
okay. So Nosferatu predates Bela Lugosi.
Yeah,
so that,
1922.
Yeah, so that could have been the image for Dracula.
Yeah.
But I think they just were going for something a little classier when they got Bela Lugosi and did that film. And it's different, and that became the standard as opposed to Nosferatu, who had the long fingers and the bald head and nose and the hunch, and he was really like a creature.
Yeah.
That could have been the imagery for vampires from there on out.
Do they talk in this movie? I don't know if I've
It's a
ever
silent
seen the
film.
original.
It's a silent
Oh,
film.
it's a silent film.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's short. You could watch
It's
it.
an hour
probably-
and 30 minutes.
Isn't it long?
According to
I thought-
IMDb, it's an hour and 30 minutes. 1922.
Yeah, I guess it is.
And it's a silent film?
It's a silent film. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a good movie in terms of the imagery, and his character is interesting. But it's dated. It's a silent film from 1922. And I think it's German. Isn't it German? Yeah.
I don't know.
He's
Yeah.
creepy as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But he didn't look like that.
I did
You
see
can
the
look
Willem
him up.
Dafoe one.
Look him up. He's right below that. He was a stage actor.
Yeah.
We recently talked about Joker and a lot of
That's-
The Man Who
This
Smiled.
is the guy who played him.
That's Nosferatu. Yeah. He looks creepy without the makeup, but that's not. But yeah,
He's just a normal dude.
yeah.
Nosferatu was the first one. Then it turned into the story turned into Salem's Lot.
Oh, okay. I need to see the Salem's Lot then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, really good. They actually had a mini series.
But
Wait, did I see this shit? No, I didn't.
Yeah, but Gary Oldman. So I
This
just
is
what I liked about
1979.
it was that was the first movie Dracula with Gary Oldman was the first movie where I was like, this is a different
Take.
character. Yeah, it's a different take. It's a different character. Like I didn't feel like I was watching this thing I'd seen a million times. They
was so classy.
for 70 years, vampires and specifically Dracula had been exactly the same. Really, I mean, you know, Christopher Lee has his own little take. It was a little different, but it was all basically the same look, the same story. And then all of a sudden, this comes out, and it's sort of like, wow, this feels like a more of a character. Like I'm really getting
Yeah.
into it beyond just the classy cape and the. You
Correct.
know, the flying bat thing. And even Monster Squad, which I love that movie. And the guy delivers an awesome performance. They did it in the iconic regular look. He looked just like
The
Dracula.
Universal Monster. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like Universal Monsters, whereas
Is-
Dracula
is
was
that a
not.
Universal film? Bram Stoker's?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because it doesn't feel like it's in the Universal
It's not,
Monsters
yeah.
thing.
No,
Like,
was
know,
it
its own
Dream?
thing.
No, was it New Line?
Orion or New Line or something like that?
Let's see. It's 92 film. You know how hard it is to find who fucking does these films? Like you have to.
Yeah,
like,
they don't.
They don't just
yeah.
put that stuff in IMDb or even.
They actually do.
So what's
It's
interesting
towards
is
the bottom.
Salem's Lot was directed by Toby Hooper.
Toby Hooper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, I don't think it was Universal. It looks like Sony owns the rights now. But the thing is, at this point, it's got to be in the public. The character of Dracula has to be in the public domain.
It is.
It has to be, right?
It is.
So I guess maybe at that time, maybe the movie rights were owned by, Universal still or whatever. But either way, so it is technically a Universal Monsters
Cool.
Yeah.
movie. But I love it. Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves,
Does
Gary
it have
Oldman.
to be Universal? Because I'm talking about the monsters.
No, we're talking about
Depictions
the
of-
characters. We're not
depictions
talking
of
about it
the
has to be
monsters, yeah.
Universal. I was just curious how they did it, like whether or not
Yeah.
it was done in conjunction or if they were going to try. At that
Gotcha.
time, they weren't really thinking of bigger universes. They were just doing individual movies.
Individual films, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Also-
is done great.
Yeah. By the way, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. I mean, that was a fucking great. I loved it.
That was an
Loved
awesome
it.
film. Yeah,
Loved it.
exactly.
I've never seen it.
And by
No,
the way,
it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
if you like Abbott and Costello, it's great. It's perfect. Like it literally they also have meet I think Dracula, which was Bela Lugosi. They literally had them meet the actual characters from the movie, like the people who played them, and it looks like the movies, but it's got Abbott and Costello dropped in there doing their fucking great humor shit. Like it's like a perfect married up. It's weird the crossover how it worked, but it totally works.
That's awesome.
I need to watch that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna. My thing was The Mummy.
Which
That-
one? Which one?
So it's funny. I didn't really care all that much about The Mummy.
Are you talking about the one with Brendan Fraser?
Well, the character in general, like the
Character.
Universal monster, the
Gotcha.
Mummy. I didn't care all that much, and I had never seen the original movie. And so, I was like, whatever. And then the Stephen Sommers, Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz movie came out, and I didn't see it. And I saw, for some reason, I think I was at the movies and I was watching Matrix for like the 11th time, and The Mummy was in theaters at the same time. And I my siblings were watching that because they were like, we're not going to watch Matrix anymore. You've seen it too many fucking times. And I was like, whatever. So that Matrix ended. I went into the movie theater and saw like the last half of that or the last quarter or something like that, or the third act or whatever of The Mummy. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good movie. And then like years later, I finally watched it like on DVD, and I was like, "This movie's fucking amazing! I love this movie!" And now it's become like one of my favorite movies for some reason.
Yeah.
And so, like, I love the character now. Like the whole the just the way they handled everything, and the whole, like the mummy, the creature's just resurrected, and it's like
Yeah.
they put the curse on him and all that
Right.
stuff, and he brings like the plagues. How many plagues is it?
I don't remember.
It's like in the 10 plagues of Egypt or something like that.
Yeah.
I love all of that, and in the original movie, I didn't realize like how close the Brendan Fraser one is to the
original
original
Mummy, yeah.
Yeah, the original Mummy. Like it's this, they tied into this before the Mummy became the Mummy. He was like, this witch doctor type character to the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole love story tied into it. And so that was like part of why,
Which is in the new.
which is
Yeah.
in the new one. And I just love it. I love this movie. And there's a
It's
lot
the
of different
tone,
spin-offs
I think,
to it.
really works. I think it's the tone of the movie that makes it work.
Yeah.
It's like this Indiana Jones-ish, fun,
Oh, yeah.
lighthearted, funny
Yeah.
movie. You got the little weasel character guy, and it's
Yeah.
just, it really. I think that's why I fell in love with that film too. I actually don't even remember the sequels at all, but that first film,
The second movie I liked.
Yeah.
The second movie is a good movie. It's like what you would expect for a sequel. It's like more and more and more. But a lot of people didn't like it. I mean, because of The Rock, they basically were trying to.
was that the second one? Or
Take-
was that like
That's the second one.
that
They're-
wasn't the
Yeah.
They were trying to take what's his name?
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson or whatever, and take him from being a wrestler into a big Hollywood. This was like his break into Hollywood.
Scorpion King.
The Scorpion
Scorpion
King movie. So they essentially tied in. They created the Scorpion King, and then they tied in his character into this like a big part of this second movie. Even though he's really only in the beginning of the film, and then he's like the CG monster at the end.
Which is
like
terrible,
that's it.
right?
And that was the big thing that people thought was
They've
that turned
fixed
people
it
off.
online. People on YouTube have fixed it to
Yeah,
make it with deepfake.
They use
It looks
deepfake
so
to make
much
him look
better.
so much better. Yeah.
It looks
And,
terrible.
It's a fun movie though.
Yeah.
That second movie is very fun. There's a lot of aspects of that movie that are great. That CG thing is just like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like one part of the movie, and it was just that was CG at the
It's
time.
like the CG at the
Yeah,
end of
I
Blade
know.
when he throws all those things in him and he blows up. It's not great. It doesn't hold up very well.
Yeah.
But I love the movie. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't take apart.
That's actually
That doesn't
better
take away
than
from
the Mummy.
Yeah. But then they did
Yeah.
the third movie, and it was like Rachel Weisz had already won her Oscar for
ain't
you
doing
know,
this shit.
She's like an Oscar-winning actress, and what the irony is that they got what's her name to play Rachel Weisz's character, Maria Bello, and she's
Oh.
also
Oh,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
Oscar-nominated actress, I think maybe.
I don't know if that's true.
She's a
But
fantastic
Well,
actress.
wait. So they had her play the same.
The exact same character,
Is
married
Brendan
to
Fraser?
Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
Oh man.
And then it was like years
I didn't
later.
see
So
that.
the little boy in the second movie, which is their son, is now grown up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going on my own adventures, Dad. You can't tell me what to do, Dad." You know, that kind of
Yeah.
shit. And it's a weird movie. It's a different director. It's from the guy who directed like Fast and the Furious and
Rob
the Bruce
Cohen?
Lee story. Rob Cohen. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Dragon and Bruce Lee story.
Yeah.
It's getting me too right now, but
Is he getting?
He's getting what?
me too. I just read it like 3 days ago. I was like, holy shit. By his
Oh,
own, by his
wow,
own, by his own
alright.
kid. But yeah, it's bad. But Dragon and Bruce
Ugh.
Lee story. I love that movie.
Well,
though.
so anyway, there's this third movie, and it's a fun movie, and it has a great cast, but like Jet Li's in it, Michelle Yeoh's in it, you know, everybody is really good, but it's a different feeling movie from the Stephen Sommer films.
Really?
Like, yeah, The Mummy is like a 2-hour movie. Mummy 2 is a 2-hour plus
Yeah.
movie. This is like an hour and 28-minute movie or something, hour and 30-minute movie.
yeah.
It's like a shorter film. It's action packed. It has like that fun aspect to it, but it almost goes a little too far. And like, and they try to continue it, but it's like now it's like an emperor from China. So it's like now they're connected to the son is now doing like an archaeologist in China,
Yeah.
and they're digging up like the terracotta soldiers and that whole aspect of it. But anyway, back to the universal monster aspect of this character. There have been many renditions actually of like the Mummy character, like Bubba Hotep was surprisingly.
I haven't watched
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh, you still haven't seen
We-
Bubba
no.
Hotep? Have you seen
yeah,
it?
yeah. You tell when you said to watch that, I watched it.
Yeah. Bruce Campbell's
Bruce
in it.
Campbell,
It's kind of
yeah.
like this funny take where Bruce Campbell is Elvis, who faked his death, and now he's in like an old folks' home, all fucked up, and this demon, this mummy demon,
Right.
shows up or whatever, and starts sucking the souls of the old people like out their anuses. And
So
Bruce
horrible.
Campbell has to be like Ash from The Evil Dead, but
Yeah.
he's like old man and he's Elvis. So it's just like that premise
It was
in
so-
itself is
Yeah,
hilarious.
it was a horrible, hilarious film.
Yeah. It's like a comedy horror,
Yeah.
you know, and that was also a great rendition of The Mummy. And the Mummy's shown up in a lot of different films, like you said, the Abbott and Costello one, which I need to see.
Yep.
I can't believe you haven't seen that.
Monster
That's
Squad.
a classic.
He
Yeah.
was great in Monster Squad.
Stop
honestly.
mentioning that.
What's funny, like the original Mummy movie was like 1920 something, right? When was the original?
No.
You know, so the
I feel
original
like it was
Mummy movie-
after Dracula.
So the original
1932,
Mummy movie
1932.
Year after.
actually was
They were
one
doing
of-
them every year.
was
You know-
actually considered one of the very first 3D scenes
What are you talking about?
in theater
what?
when the Mummy movie, because remember
In
that's
99? The 99
the
one?
original one, The
1932?
yeah. So when he walks into the camera,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was honestly never done before.
Oh, really?
That was the first time that was done.
So
And
people
so
were
it's
like-
considered 3D because the very first film that was considered 3D was the one with the train. That the train comes
Like comes
Train-
at the
train
audience.
coming
comes
into the
at the audience.
station.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
people thought it was actually coming at them because they never seen something like that.
Yeah,
And one of the-
everybody like jumped out of the way.
exactly.
They
And-
hadn't seen anything.
and they haven't seen.
They hadn't seen fucking motion pictures on a screen before. They had never seen a
No,
movie.
that wasn't that wasn't the first film
That-
on. That wasn't the first film on a screen.
That
that
wa-
scene was the first film that was ever done that way. Yeah.
We're gonna get into a method
Was it
acting
like
fucking
stereo-
argument again.
No.
Stereotype.
That wasn't the very first film that was ever.
I'm not
shown
saying
on-
it's the first one, but it's the first of like 2 or 3. It's like,
Co- yeah,
second or
yeah,
third.
yeah,
And
yeah,
but
yeah.
at that point, people hadn't seen every motion. Like there were no theaters at that time. There was nothing. So
Correct.
So people who saw that, it was the first time they saw anything. Like, cause not
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
had
I
seen.
see what you're going
So
with.
so
Yeah,
they,
exactly.
they
They
just saw a
they've seen
train
a
movement, and
photograph.
they'd never seen a movie
Yeah.
before, motion picture. And they just
Yeah.
saw this thing coming. They're like, it's a fucking train.
Yeah.
They
exactly.
actually showed it in Hugo with Ben Kingsley. Remember? Did you ever see
Oh,
that?
yeah,
They
yeah.
show
Oh, yeah,
him
exactly.
seeing
That's a
it, and
great
the whole
movie.
audience ducking, and he was like, "What the hell is it?" And he was like, "That's what gave him." He's like, "I need to be a filmmaker. This is the greatest magic."
That-
He's a
exactly,
magician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said there's a funny little tidbit here I thought was interesting. So the original Mummy movie was actually inspired by the opening of King Tut's tomb, which happened in 1922. with
Oh, wow.
Howard Carter. So that whole thing exploded in the media, and everybody, you
Oh,
know,
wow.
they found all the gold and the you know, the tomb and like the body and like all those treasures that were like in that room.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of shit that they found. I mean, it's still on tour today. Like I
Yeah.
think right now it's like in London.
Yeah,
or something
Steve Martin
like that,
plays it.
but,
All right.
Yeah. Saturday
yeah,
Night Live. King Tut.
yeah.
Funky Tut.
Funky
King
Tut, yeah.
All right.
But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Like,
Yeah.
I got
that's
5
where the
minutes.
movie
That's
came
all I
from.
got. You took
No,
like,
you
you
got-
guys took like 4 hours in the 30-minute episode.
But the Mummy is your
The
is your
Mummy.
thing, and it's the tone. What do you love about
I-
it? It's the tone. It's the
I love the adventure. I love the music. I love Jerry Goldsmith did the music for the Mummy film, that the Brendan Fraser film, and you know, there was a Tom Cruise movie, and that was an entertaining movie, but for me, the Brendan Fraser one it's like now a classic to
Yeah,
me.
it
I
didn't hold
consider
up
it
to
a
the other
classic
one,
to
yeah.
me. Like I you know,
I would never say
love
that about
movie.
Brendan Fraser's Mummy film. I don't know why.
really. I
love
I
it.
love that
I'm
film,
not
so
saying
I
it's
never
bad,
argue
but
with that.
it's not that I argue with it.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't.
They got a whole
I
ride
didn't
at
get that
Universal
thing.
Studios based around that fucking.
That's great.
It's
There's
great.
a bunch
They're-
of. There's also a bunch
one
of
of my
rights
favorites.
about Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean, the movie's not
First
going to
one's a
win any
classic.
awards or
First one's a
accolades,
I-
but it's like it's
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah, it's one-
Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, was like it was like this original film that was a throwback to
Yeah.
like the earlier generation, and so
It's in the spirit of National Treasure and the Mummy.
Yeah.
I think these all have this kind of adventure-seeking adventure.
it's
the
not
tone.
action necessarily, but adventure.
It's adventure.
You don't see. I feel like we don't see as many adventure films. We'll
I
see a
agree.
lot of like these action, really
Jumanji
slow
is
moving.
probably an adventure film, but because
It's kind of
there's-
like comedy though. Like Mummy has humor, but it is not a comedy.
Oh, there's comedy in that movie like crazy, but yeah, there's heavy shit in it too. You're right.
Yeah.
It does feel like there's stakes.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
emotion
They
is
kill
there.
a lot. Like at the end, all those guys that
Yeah.
open the thing or whatever, like
Yeah.
they all get sucked. The life sucked,
Yeah.
fucking whatever out of them. Like get the life force sucked out of them. Like it's a dark movie, but it does have humor,
There's a lot of comic relief.
and it's really just that one
There's
character,
a lot of comic
Benny,
relief.
who
And-
brings
but
all
even
the
Brendan
humor.
Fraser has a lot of funny stuff in the film. Like it's comic relief throughout the
true.
film. There's a lot. And I think it works.
Yeah,
I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark has comedy.
and
throughout
it was
the
a
film.
big deal. That like as far as CG goes,
He's
it's a
kidding.
big deal.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. All right, you go. Jake.
We're gonna extend
Take a
this.
few. I got some things to cut
You're
out.
gonna now extend this? Is that what you're saying?
I've given you authority to extend.
You're gonna now extend
Who gave you
this?
authority to give authority?
I got authority.
You
from
are now going
the
to extend
podcast
this.
gods.
This has been a podcast on the Mummy.
The Godcast.
It's literally been a podcast.
No, we
on the
talked
Mummy.
more about Dracula.
No, we did not. Trust
No,
me.
you
the
guys were
timer's
talking
right
about
here.
Salem's Lot the entire time I was trying to talk about it. So.
Literally,
Oh.
he did 7
How does this
minutes.
keep happening?
He did 7 minutes. Out, and I'm taking off all the other when
Yeah,
we
the
interrupted and
extraneous stuff,
everything
yeah.
because there was 3 minutes of interruption in the beginning because he had a hard time getting into it.
Yeah.
So within
That's
3
what she
minutes,
said.
he went up to 13. He went up to 7 minutes after that, and then you came in, and now we're at 28 minutes with the fucking Mummy. So this is the
what's
fucking
with this
Mummy
guy
episode.
fucking in his
So did you
counting
know
shit?
they actually
Math nerd.
shot like several other hours of like origin story in the Mummy movie, and then they edited all that out. So when you watch the movie, you should really watch the director's commentary on that. There's a lot of interesting stuff about.
I'm gonna
that
keep
first
mine
movie.
short and simple because
Okay,
mine
time
sells
nerd.
in
Come on.
itself.
All right, time nerd, get to
Don't
it.
get me started
Mine's
on the
gonna say-
Mummy.
and if you haven't seen this film, one of you guys, I'm gonna fuck you up. So that was very violent, but it is.
Which
it's
movie?
Silver Bullet.
Oh, I love that movie.
Have I seen this?
I didn't think of that as a Universal Monster movie.
Have we talked about this? We
Think about
definitely
it.
talked about that.
I mean, it's werewolves. Are
It's
all
a
werewolves Universal
werewolf
monsters?
story.
He's not Wolfman.
well, it's like the best version
no,
I'll
of
give it to you.
Universal
I'll give it to you
Monster.
because it's kind
It's-
of inspired.
It's
by
inspired by it.
Because I wouldn't say
Yeah.
he's Wolfman. Like Wolfman is like.
You
But
know,
he's a werewolf,
So
I
if you
get
want
it.
to do, so if you want me to go that route,
Yeah.
I love the Wolfman with what's his name?
Oh, Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro.
You're not going to put that as your number one.
No, I'm not.
That
I'm
is
not
a-
numbering. I like that one because it was a new take on a classic take of the film.
Yeah.
and that's why I like that one.
Yeah, that
So-
is.
and
It's
it
a
was
solid
it was
movie.
a really good because if you remember the story is that he was actually not a bad werewolf.
No,
he was
when he
blamed-
changed, he hated it.
he was being blamed for something someone else did, and he found out it was his father.
Right, right.
So it was a
Anthony
really,
Hopkins,
really-
who's
Anthony Hopkins.
fantastic
Anthony
in that
Hopkins.
movie.
So yeah, if
Who
you
directed
really
that
go
again?
back, I don't remember who directed it.
Somebody,
but
we
if
know.
you go back and watch that film, like the first time around, you would never put that as in one of the best werewolf films. But when you watch that again,
Joe Johnston.
it was
Mm-hmm.
really
Rocketeer.
it was really a good film.
Yeah.
But I stick to Silver Bullet because it was really like the character take on it the way the werewolf looked, it was very classical.
So I
It was
agree.
very-
Let's go with Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
I think you're right. That is like if you didn't have Wolfman, you would never have Silver Bullet.
Exactly.
It really is the classic.
it's Stephen King.
borrows-
It's Stephen
Yeah.
King. That was the other
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
We've
So-
talked about this a few times. You've never seen it. It's an 80s movie.
I still
It's,
haven't seen it. How have I not seen this fucking
You
movie?
have
Corey
to
Haim.
watch this movie.
Corey
I need to
Haim?
watch it. Yeah, Corey.
It's
Corey
Corey
Haim.
Haim. Yeah, it's
Corey
Corey Haim,
Haim.
not Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Lucas.
also, what's his name is in it?
Gary Busey's in it.
Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in it, and he does a great job as the uncle that comes into town to watch the kids
Yeah.
while the parents go away.
It's a great 80s
It's
horror.
incredible.
yeah.
yeah, it's incredible. And the reason why I chose that one
in a
is
wheelchair.
because like the story, it's a total twist on the story by having a spoiler alert.
Well, don't spoil it for me because I've seen
Yeah,
it.
don't.
Are you kidding me?
No, don't.
Are you kidding me?
But
This
he
is
I wanna
wa-
watch it. I
He
wanna
wants
watch
to
it.
see it though. He wants to
You
see
can
it.
talk about it in code.
So, but I'll talk about the werewolf and stuff. The werewolf was very classical looking.
Yeah.
The scenes were very classical looking. You would see somebody would be in the dark, be by themselves, and suddenly you have the from the camera point perspective sneaking up on somebody, like from the woods behind a tree, looking at someone, seeing somebody. It was very classically done.
Yeah.
And then there was one shot where the camera just goes towards the person turns around and
Right. Because you don't see it. Yeah.
because you don't see it.
So how does this compare to like American Werewolf in London?
Oh my
and,
God, I
Ameri-
love that
see-
movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't consider American Werewolf in London very classical.
I don't think it doesn't
Okay.
feel universal.
It doesn't
monster.
feel.
This is
univer-
more like
this
this
one.
is more Universal
but
Monsters.
it's like a
more-
mystery.
It's a mystery.
Okay, yeah.
It's the look, the story about the kids trying to figure out who's killing. Almost like. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mention this because he's mentioned it multiple times. It's almost like Monster Squad-ish,
Oh, okay.
where these kids,
That's a great
this
movie.
brother and sister, I bet it is. This brother and sister are trying to figure out the mystery of who's killing all these people in town, and they're trying to prove it. But then you have this kid, and the one is in a wheelchair, and he's very imaginative, so people aren't believing him.
Yeah.
Then Gary Busey comes in and watch, and he's not believing them. He's the uncle that's watching them, and it's just. The werewolf scenes are very, very classical, and how
Yeah.
he turns into a wolf is very, very classical. And when they figure out who did it, it was like, holy shit!
Yeah.
like that was the twist that you never thought that would be it.
Now I'm excited to see this,
You
actually.
should
Yeah.
100%.
It's a good.
watch
Yeah,
it.
we
so
talked
how does
about
it compare to Twilight?
Oh, so much worse. I mean, Twilight's a classic. The
Um,
first one. The first one's a classic.
So
Is
there's
it,
no glitter.
Is it
there's
wait,
no
which one
glitter
is
moments.
it? Jacob or Edward?
Jacob is the werewolf.
Is Edward the werewolf?
Jacob is the werewolf.
Jacob.
I don't know how the fuck I know that.
Everybody
I don't know where
knows
that
that.
information came from.
Everybody knows
The
that.
only thing, like when you say that, the only thing I remember is the fucking glitter scene when you
Where he sparkles?
Where he sparkles, like
Yeah.
Or when he's like, when she smells like shit to him, and he's like, "Oh God, you smell like shit."
Remember is that
Yeah.
a scene? I don't.
He literally like has an over.
I don't
like,
know. Have I seen the
smell-
first one? I think I definitely watched the second one somehow.
But the thing about Gary, he just reminded me of this quote from Lost Boys.
Yeah.
The grandpa. One
I
thing
still
about,
haven't seen that.
shut up.
We've talked
Neil,
about this so much. You guys keep like these old Corey Haim
have to
films.
see
Nick,
it, yeah.
Nick,
Like,
listen
really?
to me right
I
now.
haven't.
Nick, we're going
seen
to put
Lucas.
out an audition for a new member because this is fucked up.
You got to see Lost Boys this year for Halloween.
He
Seriously.
hasn't seen Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
Yeah, that came out like
but
2 years ago.
Cabin in the Woods does not stand in for Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Lost Boys, I
What?
will 100% it's a classic.
Here's-
Cabin in the Woods is debatable.
Vampire movie, right? Lost Boys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
On the heels of Stand By Me. Like
Yes.
that iconic dark Kiefer Sutherland. He's great in it.
Oh, that's right. He was in Stand
He's the
By
main.
Me at
At
the end.
Well, no, he's throughout the whole film.
And what
He's Ace.
What's the
He's-
kid
he's
that's
throughout
in
the whole
it?
He's
film.
like the bad guy.
The kid
yeah,
is in
but
it.
he's throughout the whole film. Huh?
The what's his name? The kid that's in it.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
And Corey Haim.
Yeah.
They're both in it.
Yeah.
The Lost Boys was the start of their being in the same movie.
Yeah.
That was the start of it. But one thing about living in Santa Carla, I never could stomach all the damn vampires. But Joel Schumacher.
This is from what?
Lost Boys.
Lost
Oh,
Joel
yeah.
Schumacher directs it.
So
He did Batman and Robin, your favorite film.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher has made some incredible fucking films, and then somehow Batman and Robin he made.
Yeah, but that was
Batman and Robin-y?
Well, he did
Batman and Robin-y.
He did
What the fuck is
Flatliners.
Batman and Robin, he made.
He did
That doesn't sound
Flatliners.
like-
Space
he-
Your Vowels.
He's a good director.
He did Falling Down.
Did he
I'm
do-
pretty
oh my
sure he did
God,
that.
I love that movie.
I think
I
Michael
forgot that he
Douglas.
did. Did he?
Great
Great
films.
fucking movie.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's made some incredible fucking movies.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyway.
I'm good. I was gonna say something, but
Oh, about.
You're right. He did
yeah,
fall
yeah,
down.
falling down. But we'll keep moving on.
Love that movie.
Love.
So
it.
I
good.
could talk about that movie for hours.
Yeah.
Um,
Michael Douglas is just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good in it.
You're on the edge of your seat that whole fucking
Yes.
movie. Yeah.
And
you
you're like-
can relate.
It's
to,
like
the
Dan
shit
Thanos
that
snapping his
sets
fingers.
him
You're like,
off.
I get it.
Yeah.
need to talk
You get it.
about
You're like,
me.
yeah, man, you do you.
He's basically the Joker of his time period, and people
Can
are
we
like,
go back to
He's
me,
not evil.
Dracula, and stop
Yeah.
talking about everything else?
That's,
Thank you.
All right.
well, you're Wolfman.
Fucker.
Yeah.
Fucker. This is Dracula.
It's like a
fucking
New
cousin.
York
It's
Transylvanian.
yeah.
He's like a transplant.
Fuck you. I'll bite you in the neck.
I thought he was gonna say you're
Oh,
in
man,
the
that's
nuts.
less- so
in the
less
nuts.
aggressive.
Not biting
You
in
ever,
the nuts.
you ever see Once Bitten with Jim Carrey in the 80s? It was like pre. Anybody know who Jim Carrey was?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Once
yes.
Bitten, where
I
she
don't
has
think
to
I
bite
ever
his
saw
the thigh of a virgin 3 times before the certain date, so that she doesn't become old and wither away and die.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Great movie.
movie.
Yeah, great
80s, funny.
His depiction of a vampire was funny as hell.
Raunch. It's so funny.
So fucking raunchy.
Once Bitten.
I've seen like the cover
Wolfman.
for it,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen the movie. Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here at Get to the Movies in this Halloween special thing, monsters and stuff.
Where you going with
and
this?
I don't know. I'm
So
just
people
trying
should
to
see
make it
Bram
scary.
Stoker's
Bram
Silver Bullet
Stoker's
and the
Silver
Mummy.
Bullet and the Mummy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom.
There you go.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us here at Get to the Movies. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Yeah. See, every
Is
time
that my
you-
name?
I don't fucking know.
You should have done the Mummy. You should say my name is.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.